I used to love to just bombard people with pain neuroscience education in hopes that if they learned more about pain, that it would help them, piece it together and get out of it. And I don't think it's necessarily bad to educate people, people in pain or lifters in pain, athletes in pain on pain, right? The thing about it is that they're typically too close to the problem. And so my big goal has really shifted towards using like the program and the coaching model. So using programming for people, coaching them through a program, and then an understanding of like how when we shift around like load and change exercises and change perceptions through the movements we're practicing, we can improve pain outcomes, right? So basically, like, how do we, where does the intersection of pain psychology, exercise programming, coaching people, helping people understand that they're a complete organism and they're not just like a body part or anything like that. There's a pretty, profound like crossroads between those things, right? So I guess the general philosophy that I've really tried to develop and help people through is there is usually something we can do about your pain experience through movement, through observation, through judgment that helps you manage it better, right? So let's just take a couple practical examples, right? When somebody has experienced pain with bending over or with deadlifting, it is often simple to like go back and be like, well, let's just start lighter and see how we things go, right? And honestly, just going really light and then building back up a tolerance is a good strategy, but it does require them to psychologically buy into that being a good strategy, right? The other thing that we can do is honestly just choose different variations of similar movement patterns and get people, hinging again, right? Like I think helping people understand that there's not a ton of difference between like a deadlift and like a seated deadlift, or we're just trying to create positions that are tolerable and then build on those positions is a really good pathway because people want to see a path to where they want to go, right? A lot of this depends on the acuity of somebody and their past experiences, right? Like people are not experiencing pain in a vacuum. They are a collection of their thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. And that's okay. That's being human. So when it comes to like the program and the thinking behind it, the goal of like good exercise programming and good progressions is to help people see that they can get to where they want to go with less pain, right? So what I mean by that is like not getting too dogmatic about the approach. Like, if a power lifter wants to deadlift and they deadlift conventional, right? But we show them that actually if they pull sumo for a little while, they can, their pain goes down, they can get stronger, they can rebuild and, then eventually get back to throwing in more versions of conventional deadlift. Like that's a really successful thing. We don't want to get too married to certain aspects of like exercise selection in the process, right? So thinking about like the program and the adaptability of that as part of the educational process for people is a really good way to deliver pain neuroscience education that allows people over time to look back and be like, oh, I get it. I get what you were talking about when like that these movements are pretty similar and not being afraid to do one helps me create, more optimism about another one, right? Or that, oh, I did those tempo squats and I was, I felt really comfortable and safe because I was going slow. Okay, like how do we carry over that same amount of feeling of safety into other variations, right? And that really comes down to individualization of the process. But when you think of it as this overarching flow of, I want to just get the person feeling safer, more confident about their body. I want to decrease the pain or the sensation they're feeling as best I can by manipulating the variables, whether that be load, timing, exercise selection, whether or not they're warmed up or not. Like there's a lot of factors that we can modify. But when you start viewing things through this biopsychosocial lens, because that's what it is, it's just a lens. it helps you start to convey the education, not just by spitting out the facts about the psychology of pain and kinesiophobia and all those things. It just helps you run the program oriented around helping them understand that pain is complex and that they can ultimately work through it. So let me know if this was helpful. Appreciate you. Like, subscribe, comment if it was, and stay tuned for more content.